Pastor Shoba.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How many of you are from the finance or chartered accountant and related areas? So is Shukla and Griva your favorite textbook that haunts your dreams? Yeah, we all have one textbook which we can't do without, but at the same time we have to mull with it. And there is always this at whatever stage in our lives. We don't have to be in school. For me, it was Renan Martin, the English grammar textbook, which we never managed to complete and which got worn and torn by the time we finished school. Yeah, how many of you have actually seen this grammar textbook? I know I am from an old world dinosaur speak, and nowadays the textbooks are a lot more friendlier, but this was what made my life miserable when I was in school. Okay, and the best part of it is that you do not learn grammar by reading a textbook. Would you agree? Okay. A classic example is actually my husband. He came from a Kerala school where he learnt even the multiplication tables in Malayalam. So when he was in class 6, all that he could say was, "What is your name? My name is Moni." Okay? Or something of those lines. Okay? He actually learnt English by watching English movies. Because the best way to learn is actually by listening. A bit of learning you actually learn by listening. You can also learn a good bit of grammar by reading. Because what happens is that you instinctively then know that this is the correct form of sentence construction. I don't know whether you finished the Ruskin Bond book I lent to you last time. So those are the kinds of books. Those are the kinds of books. Simple English stories, very interesting. Ruskin Bond, I would strongly recommend you look at those books. Because it's very difficult to remember a rule set when we are actually talking English. It doesn't work like that, yeah? But still, nevertheless, we will give it a shot in grammar hell. Would you agree, class teacher?
Absolutely.
So, what are the 12 rules? No, let's not go for 12 rules. It's too much for us, in a short time frame of 10 minutes. We will just listen and learn some 5 primary rules so that we don't have to, go to hell, but we will just stay in a small fire pit for some more time. Okay? But I promise to make this easy. So the first is sentence construction. Okay? Would you all understand what is a subject, verb, and object? Because a subject essentially performs an action. It performs an action with the object. So some examples. Mary loves to play with cats. The red is the subject. The blue is the object. Okay? And there is an action which is happening, which is the play. So you can see very similarly, she likes to stay in London. Okay? They want some coffee. Okay? Now, we are planning to visit Singapore. What is our subject? We. What is the object? Singapore. Yeah. So as you can see, both the subject and the object tend to be nouns. What is a noun? A noun is the name of a place, animal, or thing. Yeah. It could be with a capital letter, in which case it becomes a proper noun. Otherwise, something like we is although it is in capitals, what is it? It's a common noun. Yeah. So there are some odd ones, and English is full of, exceptions. That's the unfortunate element of English. There are some sentences with hidden subjects, like stop and then exclamation mark, right? There's no subject. So there are some exceptions, but it's good to remember some rules like this. So this is the most basic element of construction of any English sentence. Okay. Now, when we form the sentence, this is a very common mistake made by all of us. Do we use the singular form of a verb? What is a verb? Verb is an action word. Okay? Play, teach, like, these are all action words. So these are verbs. So the verb has got a singular form and a plural form. So when do we use a singular form and when do we use a plural form? So typically when we are talking in the first person is where I'm talking about myself. We is a plural. I is a singular form of my first person. So when we talk about ourselves, then what we do is that the subject matches the word. So if it is we, it'll be are. Okay? If it is I, it'll be like. It won't be likes. Yeah? If it is So we are Toastmasters. I like coffee. Whereas exactly the opposite when we talk about the third person. A third person is where we are referring to somebody else. Yeah? And that somebody else could be again a proper noun like Mary and Michael. It could be a common noun like she. Right? So Mary, now it's a single person, right? You won't say Mary loved to play with cats. No, you'll say Mary loves to play with cats. Or Michael teaches French. You won't say Michael teach French. Yeah? She likes to stay in London. Okay? And similarly, they like football. The subject plural, you have a similar kind of a synonyms there. Now, we kept talking about verbs, right? These are action verbs. We kept talking about it. But there are two kinds of verbs. One is a transitive verb, another is an intransitive verb. So very simply put, there is an action with the object, right? So that is where we say that there is an action which the subject performs with the object. So like Mary loves to play with cats. So there is an action called, loves or teaches in the second sentence. Michael teaches French, which is connecting the subject and the object. So in those cases, we say it is a transitive verb. And why do we say it's a transitive verb? Because sometimes there is no object. I agree. Okay? The baby laughs. There is no object, right? The verb is able to stand on its own. It's pretty strong. It just stands on its own. Those are intransitive verbs. And additionally, just to make your life a little more miserable, there's something called auxiliary verbs. Okay? So, have you heard of has, could, should? Now, this is another thing that we keep confusing, right? When do you use could, would, should? Okay? So, should is a very strong, demanding proposition. You should attend the class today. Okay? You don't have a choice. You should attend. Okay? Would you attend the class? That means I'm asking you, can I take your permission? Would you like to attend the class today? Okay? I could attend. That is more it's more a competency thing. I could, drive you to school. Meaning, if I wished and I had the mindset, I might drive you to school. But I will not, it's not I would drive you to school. Yeah. So it's a question of those additional parameters that defines the strength of the verb, which makes it into an auxiliary verb. Make sense? So what have we learned? We got two kinds of nouns. Common noun, proper noun. We have verbs, which are basically action words. We got transitive and intransitive. And transitive, additionally, you can also have auxiliary verbs. Yeah? And how do we match the verb tense to the subject? Okay? Whether it is a first person or whether it is a third person. That's not too bad, is it? Okay. Okay. Either or, neither or. This is a very common mistake again people make. Okay? So if both the use cases are negative, so let's look at the right side. Okay? So neither I nor you have broken the vase. So we could have said, I have not broken the vase and you have not broken the vase. This is another way we could have created this sentence. But instead what we would say is neither I nor you have broken the vase. Okay? Neither Ram nor Raju has broken the vase. Yeah? Now, so instead of a have and a has, because this is where the difference again comes. Neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on the shelf. Okay? So it's a matter of again combining the right form of the verb. Now, if it is either or, you do one of them is true. So either team A or team B is going to win this football match or is going to win this match. Okay? I can either drive to the airport or I can get a taxi. Yeah? So these are ways in which you say, okay, both forms of propositions are possible. Okay? So, and we say, a sentence is basically a device or a method of taking a thought for a walk. Okay? So when we form interesting sentences, we sometimes get swung by the vocabulary that we use. So it's always better to use simple words. Let's not complicate our lives with big words. We are not here to show off our vocabulary. The idea is to be able to communicate and to be able to communicate very clearly. So if we look at certain uses of articles, in fact, I have noted some incorrect uses of articles in both your presentations, but we'll probably share it one-on-one with you. This is a very common thing that we do because when do you use an, or when do you use the? Okay? So we use the word the when I cannot count something. Okay? It's the sky. It's the class. I mean, you cannot count, okay, so many skies, right? You cannot count. So that's where you use the word sky. So I saw an eagle flying in the sky. The eagle is something I can count. Okay? So this is where we call a definite article. Definite. I can count it definitely. Yeah? So it's a definite article versus an indefinite article, which is the. Okay? Now, indefinite article, it can be an or an. So when do you use a and when do you use an? Anyone?
When you have the vowels.
Yes. What are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U. Okay? I don't O of you, but A, E, I, O, U. So I saw an eagle. Why is it an? Because the E is a vowel. Okay? Whereas if you go down, a good boy, because G is not a vowel. Okay? So that's a very simple rule for deciding whether you use a or an. Now, there's always a crazy one, right? Okay? So if you look at words like are, okay? It starts with a consonant H, but it sounds like a vowel R, right? Sounds like an O, because H is silent. So because of that, you will use and, okay? So just when you think you've got the handle of it and you feel, wow, I have learned it, you'll always find, some little glitches like this, okay? Now, active and passive voice, what do you think it means?
I think active is quite straightforward.
What is straightforward?
I mean, we directly,
But you're right, yeah.
we directly address something.
First person is
Active is present.
Yeah.
Passive is future.
Okay. So, always put the subject first. That's active. Now we know what's a subject, right? Subject is the noun which performs the action. Okay? That will always come first. So, Michael teaches French. If I flip it, what happens? If I put the object first, what happens? French is taught by Michael. Now that's a passive voice. Okay? So this is an active voice, this is a passive voice. So when you're crafting your speech, please write active sentences in active voice. Okay? Avoid these passive voice sentences because they're not direct forms of speech for us. Yeah? I'm almost done. We can rest in peace. Okay? If you have any specific questions, more than happy to answer, but because the red light is on, we'll probably take these questions during the break. That's a better idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shoba.
Yes, thank you.